What's up everybody, I'm Seth Fowler and today I'm doing a performance review of the LeBron 15 in the Ashes colorway. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys. Make sure to give me a follow on Instagram and on Twitter at RealSethFowler. But with all that being said, let's get into it. A few weeks ago, I was able to grab a release pair of the LeBron 15s in the Ghost colorway. That colorway was super clean, so I did a lifestyle review on that. If you guys want to check out that video and haven't yet, make sure to click the link at the top of the screen. But I ended up not actually playing in that pair, so I didn't do a performance review. So what I decided to do was wait for the Ashes colorway to drop and play in that. So without further ado, here it is, the LeBron 15 in the Ashes colorway. Honestly, I think this colorway is better than the Ghost colorway. I think it's a lot cleaner, and I'm actually glad it's a GR because that means everyone can grab it. As I mentioned, this will be mainly a performance review and not so much a design overview of the shoe like I did on the Ghost colorway. So again, if you want to check that out, there'll be a link at the end of the video. I grabbed these shoes right when they dropped a couple weeks ago, and I've been playing in them ever since, so I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of how the shoe feels. But starting off with the shoe, you've got this all black and gray battle knit upper. Battle knit is actually a variation on Flyknit and doesn't feel that similar. It's actually surprisingly lightweight, even though it's thicker than Flyknit. Because it's thicker, the material itself does provide a little bit more stability and a little bit more durability than what you can expect from regular Flyknit. However, again, because it's thicker and more tightly knit than Flyknit, it's not as breathable. This shoe, of course, has a booty construction, so it doesn't have a separate tongue, so you really need to make sure you're getting the right sizing for you. Because even though there are laces and they do help a little bit with lockdown, if you're not going to get a good fit when you first try them on, they're really not going to fit you any better the more you wear them. In fact, if you actually get a size that's too big, the material does stretch out over time as you play, so it's important to make sure the fit is right for you right from the get-go. Speaking of fit, the shoe did seem to fit me true to size, which is really nice. It was a little longer than my foot, so I had a little bit of room in the toe, but that wasn't really a problem. It's definitely a more narrow sneaker than just about every other LeBron that's dropped, which actually worked with my foot perfectly. I have pretty narrow feet, and LeBrons are usually a bit wider, so this fit me really well. Not to say wide footers can't wear this shoe, because obviously LeBron has a pretty wide foot, but it's definitely more accommodating for narrow-footed people like myself. As I mentioned before, it is a booty construction, so if you get the right fit, the lockdown in the heel is going to be great, and that lockdown's definitely supplemented by the laces and the fly wire that wrap around the midfoot of the shoe. If you tighten up the laces, you are going to get pulled closer to the heel, which really will increase the lockdown around the heel area. So in some ways, the lockdown is great because of the construction and the material, but in other ways, I kind of had a problem with it. Although the battle knit is super comfortable and molds your foot really nicely over time, it doesn't provide a lot of support, and one problem that I had a lot of was that my foot was sliding out of the footbed whenever I made lateral cuts. It wasn't anything too crazy, but there were times that I felt kind of unstable, which I really didn't like. To be fair, it didn't happen too much, but I feel like if they had added some sort of support in the forefoot or anything else besides just this thicker knit battle knit to stop your foot from sliding all over the place, that would have been a welcome addition, but like I said, it wasn't terrible. A major upside of this battle knit material though is that it's crazy comfortable, whether that's on court or whether you're just wearing the shoe for lifestyle wear. It's also actually not too bad to get on your foot because around the ankle collar area, the material is a little bit looser, so you can stretch it pretty wide, which I really appreciated. That's one of my main gripes with one-piece uppers is just getting the shoe on. A lot of times the ankle is just a little bit too tight, so it wraps around your foot nicely, but it really makes the shoe a bummer to get on. But not in this case. One thing to keep in mind though is that although this shoe looks like a mid-top or a high top, it definitely feels more like a low top because as I just mentioned, this area is super loose and super flexible, so it's not going to provide you any support around your ankle. So if ankle support is important to you, this might not be the right model. As for durability of the upper, the battle knit definitely feels stronger than previous Flyknit iterations. You do have thicker battle knit on the side and around the toe box where you get a lot of wear. I think that's a really nice touch, and I didn't have any problems with durability whatsoever. And of course, the shoe is made for LeBron, who plays really hard in his sneakers, and he's a really huge dude, so it was important that the shoe was durable and could definitely stand up to his wear and tear. So for normal people like you and me, this is going to be just fine. Moving down the shoe, you get to one of my favorite parts of the sneaker, the midsole cushion. The midsole is made up of foam, but also incorporates these air pods that are made of Air Max and Max Zoom cushions. Pods are articulated in the forefoot, midfoot, and heel, so you do get a lot of flexibility and a really nice heel-to-toe transition. Obviously, LeBron's a really big dude, and he needs a lot of cushion. However, for myself, I'm definitely a much smaller dude. So for me, this cushion definitely does feel good on feet, but I don't think I'm big enough to unlock the full potential of what you could be getting with this impact protection. It almost felt like it was overkill to cram this much cushion into this sneaker. It was definitely not necessary for myself, but for bigger dudes who really need a lot of impact protection, this is definitely not a bad way to go. As much as I like the comfort that this midsole provided, I did feel really high off the ground, which I'm not a huge fan of, and pairing that with the instability of the footbed, it really kind of made the shoe feel pretty unstable. Like I said, I'm a smaller dude, so I probably don't compress this cushion as much as it would be underneath a LeBron or a bigger player, so maybe that's just me feeling that high off the ground, but it kind of bothered me. I personally prefer less cushion and more court feel, something like a Kyrie would provide. Being lower to the ground also makes me feel a little bit quicker on my feet. This made me feel a little delayed when it came to movements because I was unsure of where my foot was going to end up, and again, I think that's just because of my size. I don't think this is exactly the right sneaker for me. However, if you're just grabbing this for lifestyle wear, the comfort that this midsole provided was incredible. Finally, moving to the outsole of the shoe, you've got this really jagged sort of diamond-shaped traction pattern. This is not really a traction pattern that I've seen before. It's definitely interesting, and I've heard other people say that when they wipe the shoe, it kind of hurts, and I definitely see where they're coming from because these edges are surprisingly sharp. The rubber itself doesn't feel particularly soft, so you might be able to wear these outdoors, but honestly, I don't think you'll be able to play in these outdoors for too long because these little traction nubs are so thin that they'll probably wear down pretty fast. As for indoor wear, I didn't have any problems when it came to a clean court. They stuck pretty well, but when I played on the dusty court in the YMCA, I was definitely sliding around a lot. I had to wipe a lot, and it wasn't the best traction in the world. Definitely not bad, but probably not the best. Overall, I think the LeBron 15 is actually a really great basketball sneaker. This is one of my favorite LeBrons ever made visually. I think it's a great looking shoe. The comfort of it is also incredible. I really love the way that it felt on my foot, and I actually wore this shoe as just a lifestyle sneaker a couple times because the comfort and the looks were just that nice. But when it comes to performance, I just don't think this is the right shoe for me or probably a lot of small guys. I just don't need the overkill cushion. I don't like feeling that high off the ground, and the instability was kind of a bummer. However, if you're a bigger guy or just love LeBron sneakers, this is definitely a good way to go. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section down below letting me know what you think of the LeBron 15 and what your favorite colorway is. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to me, Seth Fowler, if you want to see more content just like this, and follow me in all other forms of social media. The links will be in the description below.